Hello to all my friends and all the general public in this watching this program on your television, in your television, on your television, which way? I don't know. Anyways, today I thought that speaking on why Christianity is so crazy and why it is one of the main factors of the craziness we live in would be an appropriate theme to touch upon. This is the first part of 5 to answer the following question. Why do we live in such a crazy society? Or why do we as a society think so illogically? Now, to tackle that question, let's first consider why themes like LGBTQIA, abortion, minorities, immigrants are such controversial themes right now. This should be some of the most clearly defined items by now, yet they seem not to be. All of these are based on the freedom and dignity of a person. Yet these rights seem to be applied at random only to some people and denied to others. In all cases, the root cause of these arguments seem to be organized religion, specifically Christianity in any of its different flavors. Why would I focus on Christianity? Well, this religion has at least 2.4 billion followers in the world, which is about a third of the world, and almost half of the USA. Therefore, its ideological effects are felt heavily across the world and across our nation. Now, on with the main theme. Christian leaders seem to be trying to stay relevant and grow political influence in these times, much like the clerical fascists of 1920. Yeah, look it up, clerical fascists of 1920. The symptoms, as we can tell, are that they promote many different religious unfounded assumptions and align those independently of scientific or logical findings to their preferred political exponent, glorifying one political party and condemning the other. Why do they do this? Well, unbeknown to many Christian followers, the most successful preachers, priests, or bishops get random invitations to political functions, sometimes private, sometimes public, in which functions they can pretty much name their price for continued cooperations and they are lavish with gifts, etc. And let me not mention the amount of donations of an excited congregation. Some people will sell their families off to satisfy what their preachers say they should do. This is not to say that all Christians are bad, no sir. Not in the least. Christians are generally people who are trying to do what they believe to be good. The problem is that the interpretation of what is good according to their holy book are being done by some men who want power, who want to be relevant, and who essentially want to have millions of people listen to them and follow them, independently of what they know to be true. Such men also want to satisfy their lifelong justification of their own lives. These people want to see Christianity rise to be the most powerful system with the ultimate authority, the unquestionable authority of God, with them as the only translators. I know, it's a lot to take in. Yet, if you bear with me, you will see the evidence of how, historically, the hierarchy within Christianity and in its many flavors have sold Jesus' message in exchange for power. And in doing so, well, they have created this alternate reality world which is at the core of our present day ideological problems. Now, to understand this, we need to back up in history. There is no doubt that originally Christianity was made up of well-intentioned Jesus followers who possibly had an actual expectation of life after death and the kingdom of heaven that was not of this world. However, history shows us that after being persecuted for some 300 years, Christians very likely started to figure that they needed a better way to survive and grow. Now, let's be honest. Christians were being persecuted possibly due to their hard-headed stance that claims we have the ultimate word of God. Now, back in those days, arguments about God were very important and central to society. Also, most of God's arguments were proven with the sword, or in some way, God had to show his preference by allowing his representative to survive. Now, we can attest to at least hundreds of events to which God did not show up to save his martyrs, saints, or heroes from the jaws of the lions or the sword of the executioner. In reality, I believe those were arguments of good faith, where Christians thought they would be saved by God, but the Romans won the argument. This idea that Romans just wanted Christians to abdicate their religion because they didn't like it is not so cut and dry. Before we judge, we have to be familiar with history and culture. Remember, I just said, back then it was truly believed that if God is with you, he will save you. Thus, Christians pushing their assertion of being correct and condemning the others, which Christians usually do, was a very serious attack. In this case, being thrown to the lions was no more than the equivalent of "prove to me your God is real," a test that Christians lost continuously. Therefore, after a few years of continuous losses, I suspect the Roman emperors were no longer afraid to declare Christianity illegal, as they saw Jesus as no more powerful than any gods from other conquered cultures. Now, life has its ups and downs for everyone. At some point, a Roman emperor named Constantine became convinced that Christianity was popular enough religion to strengthen his position in power, not because they were right, but because they were convinced enough to be allowed to be killed despite having no proof and no power. We all know how the underdog usually acquires some popularity power just because they dare to stand in the arena. Independently of being right or wrong, they become popular. Emperor Constantine decided to take advantage of this phenomena, and he pushed for the first Christian organization, and the Catholic Concilium was convened. This was about the year 325. It was called the First Council of Nicaea, where all the Christian craziness began. Thank you for listening so far. If you have enjoyed this, press the like and subscribe. Remember, there are 5 parts to this theme in which I will present all the reasons why I believe organized religion is at the root of our society's craziness. I'll see you later. Have a great day, my friends.